So let's jump right in, man. Tell us all about yourself. Would you please, I've known you a long time, but please say your name properly so I don't butcher it. I know the Volker part, but, and then continue and go where you will, my friend.
All right. So if you say it right, it is actually Volker. You split it in the middle. It's a Nordic name, and it means the leader of the army. Because my mom and dad, my ancestors comes way from up from the north before we settled in the 1300s roughly. Anyway, long story short, that's the name come from. The most people here in the US, you pronounce the V like a W. So that's why it comes up to Volker. And it's fine for me, no problem at all. So what else? Let's go from the beginning. So let's go way back 1996. That was my first time on vacation over the big pond to Florida, Fort Lauderdale. And man, of course, vacation is always something, right? You're happier, you see things different, and everything is blue, right? In my case, everything was blue, and it felt that somebody put a little seed in my soul, what I didn't know. But from 1996, I've been here every year on vacation, later for vacation and work, until 2005, where I got this opportunity to move to this great country here. And over all these 9, almost 10 years, that little seed growed. And it makes me, and it felt always that Germany is not really my country. I felt always better here. And because of my job, I saw the whole world except for the Russian part and the Middle East. And it is always America. When somebody's asked me where you like to live in the world, I say, hey, America it is. New Zealand is on number 2 because of the weather is better. Sure. Anyway, so America it is. So vacation was always great here because my wife at this time, we get a rental car and we drove around here. So I saw so many nice places here, and I talked to so many really nice people. I met friends and my coworkers, and everything seems to fit like a puzzle. So the day came when, in 2004, November, I had a class over in Germany for 2 weeks, roughly 20 US guys, working for my company, Heidelberg, here in the US. And after a week, somebody popped a question. And he said, hey, we're struggling. We need some help. Do you know somebody that maybe comes over for a couple of years and teach us and help to develop the service department and whatever belongs to it? I say, hey, you know what? Let me ask my better half at this time. And I give you an answer. So the next Monday, so I talked to my old lady over the weekend and put the pro and cons on the table. And she said, let's do this. That is a lifetime opportunity, and I love America, you love America. Let's do it. It's not working, so then we can come back and say, hey, we tried it, but let's do it. So we did. November 2004, we packed everything, and that was 2005 in May. So it's not much time. That was not even 6 months. So we went over, before we came over here, I need a work visa to legal work in the US and pay my tax here. So we have to go to the Frankfurt, to the American embassy down in Frankfurt, and with a lot of paperwork. And we get an interview there where our, the background was checked, so that I'm not a criminal that comes over here. And roughly a day later, we got our visa in our hand, and we can start packing. The hardest part was say goodbye to my mom. and my dad. But my dad says, if I'm in the same age like you, I would do the same. Do it. We did. So, and it's hard to explain how that feels when you leave your country where you're born and you're raised and you go to school and all that and your family lives there, and then you go in a completely different country. The feeling was, for me, I never belonged to Germany. I felt always better outside Germany, or especially in the US. So that was an easier part for me to do that. And I was right. I was absolutely right. So 2007, I talked to Sabine because I made it really clear in the interview here with my boss that he can work with totally different paperwork because I'm not leaving. I'm not returning to Germany. 47 years old. Let's say 5 more years to help the people here and then go back to Germany and start over there. No, I'm too old for that. So he put the word in. He contacted the right lawyers. And in 2007, Sabine and I we applied for our green card. So the first step to get closer to the biggest thing in my life. We got our green card after 5 years after the application of the green card. So then we have a waiting time, or I had a waiting time from another 5 years before I get the application down for American citizen. The reason why the government is doing that is you have to prove to the government that you fit in here, that you stick to the laws, you put your part to the society, like paying your tax and so on. Anyway, the 5 years went when I applied for the citizenship. Unfortunately, my wife passed away in 2012, so it was only me that applied for the citizenship. And after 5 years, I finally get that okay from the government, and the guys invited me for another interview. The first interview was the guys take a look at my background and make sure that there's not even a freaking parking ticket on it. And did I pay my tax? Did I get to work? So I had to prove, I had to prove that I'm not sucking the money up from the government because I worked for my money here and I paid my taxes for it. So the second interview was the biggest part for me. So I had to learn 100 questions about the US. 50 was history, and the other 50 was government, how the government works here and so on. And I was talking to my girlfriend at this time, Brenda, and he said, hey, let me ask you questions about the US and the government because you are born here, so you know that, right? And she said, let's figure that out. I guess she got roughly close to 10 answers right from 100. And she said, this is unbelievable. I said, no, what unbelievable is, ask me. So I gave her the cards, and she asked me, and without learning anything at this time, I got roughly 85 of 100 correct.
Wow.
Because
85 out of 100.
Yes. Because I know so much, and I learned so many things about America in school in Germany, and for my life here in America, that it was really not bad at all.
What do you think that would be one question that you had to answer that you think just the average high school graduate should know but does not know? Can you give me an example of that?
Yeah,
not to put you on the spot.
No. An easy question for me. It's a hard question for somebody in that range of school. Who was Abraham Lincoln?
So besides the 16th president, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
So
Now, do you find that with just this age group, or even people that are my age, that still completed a 12th grade education? I'm getting to the point of is that as citizens, we are obligated to know a certain thing about where we are, because I don't believe that we can be a productive member of our
mhm,
society without knowing where we come from,
Mhm.
what made us who we are,
Mhm.
and hopefully the vision of where we're going.
yeah.
So,
So the reason why I'm choose that question is because it is one question from the 100. All right, Abraham Lincoln popped up, and lucky me, I know that first of all, he was a Republican. He was a rep,
Mm.
and he was a great guy to free the slaves. So most people always, if you asked who was Mr. Lincoln, everybody says a Democrat. I figured that out here. I said, no, guys, wrong. He is actually the guy that, yeah, beside that he freed the slaves, he also keep the Union together. What is important at this time? And it is a part of our history here. Now I say our history because it's a part of my history.
absolutely.
So it sounds weird, but it is. So, and the other question that sounds silly is, if you ask somebody how many stripes is on our flag,
Hmm.
you will be surprised how much wrong answers you get. And that is a simple question because Old Glory, guys, come on.
And why?
Yes.
And what they're for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Educate them.
The thing is, you know, the 13 stripes we have here, one of these is a colony in Pennsylvania. And I researched on my side. One part of my family, way back, was on that ship. And I'm so proud about it because I'm not the first in my family history that moved from Germany to America. I'm the third in the family history. Again, the first one was on that ship to Pennsylvania. The other one was on his way down here in the south, shortly before the Civil War started, and he was fighting here in the south. And then now I'm coming here. Straight from Cologne, Germany, where I'm born, to Kennesaw, Georgia. Wow. The reason why I'm telling you this is I was at Ellis Island, where the big book is, where you can read and research. Is there anybody in your family came over here? In this book, everything is in there. And when my name, my last name, Nisius, popped up, and I researched the first name in Germany, and I figured out this is one of my family tree. Man, that makes me proud.
Right.
That makes me proud.
So you have direct blood that came through Ellis Island.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and my mom, she remembered that from her family side that the people talked about it. There was always that one family that left Germany and went and came over to America. So that's why I have the proof for it.
Right.
Because the date and the timestamp's perfectly fine, and you can read it in the book.
Wow.
So, and it's amazing. And the really cool part is actually the Amish people. That was the people that helped me also to figure it out, the history of my name in the US. These guys have the books.
Right.
Because the Amish, you know, that comes from Dutch and Germany and Switzerland and end up here. So that is one thing, a long way to journey. The other thing is the day that came where I get sworn in.
It's cool, man.
To become an American citizen. When I took the oath, And the oath says that I have to stand up and fight the enemy, foreign and domestic. That reminds me on my military time in Germany, when I was in the Cold War with you guys together, because it was not allowed in the Cold War, or actually after World War II, that Germany has nukes. You guys had the nukes. And my job was actually protect the nukes in the Cold War in Hamburg. And I got sworn in Germany in the army, and my oath here, I swore up my country, Germany. And that feeling, that was so great. Because I walked out of this room after the oath with my flag, this one here, and my certification here that I'm an American citizen. Makes that me a complete American citizen? Yes. In front of the Constitution and the law? Yes. I'm a full-size American. I'm on the same ladder like an American that is born here. I never will. And that is good. That is absolutely good. Because you are born in the US, you have your roots here. You grow up with your traditions, with your family traditions and all that. I'm coming from another country, and I to start to grow my roots here. And that makes the difference. And that I keep this always in my mind because it is the right thing. So, fighting with you guys one day, maybe? Hell yeah. But also living with you, with Americans side by side, as an American from a foreign country, is a good feeling. Because I never heard the words that I'm not accepted here. And the reason why I'm saying this is that from the day one, when we moved to Kennesaw, my neighbors came over, introduced self, and I feel already welcome. And that feeling never disappeared. And that is something what is really hard to explain. And then over the years, I'm here now for almost 21 years. In 21 years, I went pretty much through everything what not a normal person is going through, but Americans going through. From losing your job, don't know how you pay your bills, try to get everything together. In all these years, I learned one thing. You never give up in this country.
Amen.
Never. So that's why I made a joke, and I told you that roughly a month later after I got sworn in as an American citizen, I called the Department of Immigration, and I talked to a guy there and say, hey, by the way, so I paid all this money to be legal in this country here, and I be an American citizen now. And I see all these guys jumping over the fence or coming in illegal here, and you give these guys all these money and benefits where I have to be worked for, and I paid for to be legal here. And we're talking about, that's a 5-digit number. Can I get a refund? So the only reason why I called the Department of Immigration is it was a joke. So we was laughing after that, Is it really laugh about it? I don't think so. Because for the last 4 years, we went to hell here. And the problem that I see it not only here in America, in our country, I see it also over in my old country. And Chuck, I have no idea why, but common sense is lost. There's only maybe two more generations, the boomers like us, and Gen Z, like my brother's generation, that has common sense. After that, it's gone. Unfortunately is that the people that has no fucking common sense, sorry for my French,
Continue on.
is look what these guys doing. These guys force me, force you, the normal people, the logic people, the people that love this country, to do things that makes no sense at all. So what I'm saying is actually, and that is my philosophy, is don't make your problem my problem. For an example, if I don't like to buy an electric car, I don't buy an electric car. I like to buy a V8.
Right.
Makes more sense, and I can fix it. So, you know what I'm saying is actually or the stuff that goes on with the, what is it here, LBG barbecue plus 10, I don't know. You know what you doing behind your doors, I don't freaking care. But don't push me and force me that I accept you.
That's right.
You know, so, and the same crap that is going here, especially in the blue states, and that is a good example how stupid Democrats are. That's why I go back to Lincoln. He was a rep, he did the right thing, and it works. So now we have Mr. Trump. Man, I love that man. Sorry I have to say that. I'm not making here any propaganda for that guy, but I love him. I love him from his first term. And then we saw 4 years how somebody can wreck this country here almost. And now he's back. And there's a couple people that says actually, hey, you know, he's 100 days here and it looks like nothing changed. Dude, you blind? 4 years of running this country in the ground. You expect that somebody is coming up with a magic wand and fix it in 100 days? Come on. Common sense.
Yeah.
See?
Right.
So,
Well, do you think we were in a time of where people used to go around and if they wanted to be a part of something, then they would adjust themselves to be a part of whatever it is, if they were not already fully pre-qualified? Take, for instance, any type of organization or club or anything like that. Okay. But what you don't see in organizations and stuff like that that have validity, that are actual worth something, they don't go around recruiting people and then kicking them in the face when they say they don't want to be a part of their club.
correct.
It makes no sense to me.
That's what I'm saying. Common sense is gone, right?
Right.
So what is totally normal for me and logical, let's say logical for you and me, that is for some people a language from Mars, you know?
Or you're not charitable. Well, you don't love your neighbor?
Right.
I'm tired of hearing that, but continue on.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's you know, no. If it's not logical or has no sense at all, then why in the heck I have to do that? And you have no rights to push me in that corner. You have to accept it because we have first of all, we live in a democracy here, and we have the freedom of speech. So you don't have to accept what I'm saying, but you have to accept that is my meaning or that is my point of view from whatever it is.
And please make the distinction, because I know that you were just saying that because people are going to say this. We live in a republic, not a democracy. Please tell folks that you do understand there's a difference there. I'm so tired of this semantics. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's, you know, I wish, you know, that we can turn the time back a little bit. You know, not way back. Let's say everything after the World War II. All right. So what I remember is when you are a kid and you be in school, you have to pledge the allegiance to the flag of America. Some numbnut came up with that idea. No, that's not important. Or maybe that hurts somebody from a foreign country. You know, let me get that straight here, right? This is America. We are all equal here. We have the same rights and the same rules. If you come over here from a foreign country, then try to fit in the society here. What I'm saying is actually, so when I came over here and I met my neighbors before I met my coworkers, and I see how people live, right? That is cool, because you learn. There's a couple things you can say, hey, can I show you something? Maybe that is better to do it from my old world, to bring it in to this world here. I never heard anybody say, man, that's not cool.
Right.
So we're talking about from cooking, baking, fix a car, or do any project the right way, right? So my better half, she says always, yeah, if it is not your way, then it's no way. I say no. There's only one right way. That is not my way. That has not my name on it. It is the right way. And as long you accept, listen, and learn from something, that is a good thing. That is I guess I would say that is the fundamental stuff in life. If you stop learning, you know what, then move back in the basement of your mom and lock the door. So if you are not open to listen what other people has to say, then there's something wrong with you. Because, you know, what makes an American an American? Let me ask you this question.
Hey, it was that time, right in the middle of a great point. I'm going to stop and ask you to hit that like button. And if you really enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button and leave me a comment telling me where you're watching this from. Thank you.
In my case, first of all, look that land. That country is 250 years old. And it goes through a couple rough things, right? From World War I, a couple other wars, World War II, Vietnam. I mean, sorry for that, I say that. Biggest mistake.
And you have to apologize for
No,
nothing, my
no.
fellow patriot.
No, the thing is actually Vietnam was a failure in the beginning, all right? So it's like the Ukraine war. It's a joke.
It is, and thank God we're not losing thousands and thousands of our boys every day.
Yeah. And the other thing is we're not losing more freaking money to a dictator in the Ukraine that suck. Because this is a never-ending story. It's like a boat. It's like a hole in a sink. You spend money and spend money and spend money and nothing is coming up.
Do you think he could possibly be a patsy, much like, I don't know, some say Lee Harvey Oswald, or, you know, some of the different, and I say that because, honestly, I've seen the man's sitcom on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Heck of an actor. I actually watched most of his show.
Mm-hmm.
Servant of the People, I believe is what it's called on
Okay.
Netflix. He's playing, in my opinion, the people of the Ukraine did not want his show to end, because where he picks up is about where the show ends. Have you looked at it? Have you seen that?
You know, Chuck, what I saw, because maybe it's me, if I don't understand anything, then I'll make a research. And if you take a look between the Russians and the Ukraine, we're talking about hundreds of years back, right? There was always a freaking war. Always. it's like the Gaza Strip, or it's like the Middle East anyway. Why in the freaking hell we have to go and spend any money or our troops in a thing that goes on for 3,000 years? Wait a minute. My common sense says, hey, warm up some popcorn, grab a cold, and watch the show.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Why we have to do this? Done.
So what you're telling me is that the people that the LGBT community is supporting and they are for Palestine
Yeah.
is the same people that if they got one video to any Palestinian children,
Yeah.
they would bomb our country over that.
I know.
But yet,
You know.
makes no sense. Common sense,
There's no sense. But you see, this
truth,
is
and logic.
This is a good example for these kind of people. What kind of, I mean, if you have only 2 brain cells, okay, then yeah, this is what you're doing, right? And go with it. But that is no sense at all. You know, why you demonstrate or support something that will kill you? Huh? Is it me? Again, popcorn, pop a cold off, and watch the show.
So, if you would, take us back to your time early. Like, so before you even knew that you even might want to have a chance to live in America. Tell us about young Volker.
Young Volker. I grew up and I'm born on the Rhine River in Cologne. Rhine River in Cologne is like the Mississippi here, right? It's one of the major rivers in Europe, actually. I'm born 62, and that means I'm a boomer. Okay, born 62, I don't know what is a boomer at this time, right? But I grew up in a family, in a big family. So my dad has 5 siblings, and you can imagine how many grandkids my grandma and grandpa had, and grandkids. So when I'm talking about we have a family reunion, and there was easily 50 people there, easily. So, but first of all, important was family when I grew up, and my grandpa was one of these mans. He taught us the important things in life. Respect. Be honest. If you break something, stay straight and say it. Don't run away. And his most important thing was keep the family together. So that brings me to the time where after World War II, the government had not enough food for the people in Germany. The government give you a quarter of an acre and said, hey, I give you seeds, grow your vegetables, raise some chickens, and whatever you want, you have to support your family. So this is where I learned that in my life there is no waste. There's no waste on the food. There's no waste pretty much on anything. So that is important. The next important thing that I learned from my mom and dad was, if you cannot afford it, don't buy it. So when I came over here and I saw my neighbor's wife and my neighbor, and he was buying something, and I saw he has 10 credit cards. I asked him, why in the hell you have so many credit cards? What are you doing? Yeah, just in case. Yeah, okay, just in case is 1 credit card, but not 10.
Right.
So my valid point is actually I learned how to deal with money. If you cannot afford it, don't buy it. In Germany, we don't have credit cards. The only reason you can apply for a credit card, But most people only use the credit card on vacation, especially in the US, because you need a rental car here, you need a credit card. Otherwise, you cannot pay cash. And you can bring only that much amount of money in the country anyway. So you need a credit card. I have one. And my credit card is in my safe. Only for just in case. My car breaks down. I need a new motor, whatever, you know. That brings me to that other thing. Pay with cash. That is what I learned from my mom and dad and my grandpa and grandma. Because if you see what you have in your wallet and what you spend, then you can see what you have left over for the rest of the month.
But with every day that we move, more turns and more turns, cash is going to go away. I mean, pennies are already gone. They're about to do nickels and dimes. So what do we do in that case?
That is a good question, and I hope I'm not longer on this earth when that happened, because it's my generation, let's say it that way maybe, and the next generation, Gen X, these guys know what money is and how you deal with it. I mean, mostly in Germany. Here, I don't know, it depends on your parents. But going away from cash, so I don't think that is a really great idea. That's why I'm against two things right now. I'm against AI and I'm against Bitcoin. Because where I can see what I have, you know, what is left over for a month. Can I afford buying that steak, what I like to have on my table, and then I have the rest of the month eat ramen noodles? So you know what I mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how you figure it, how you deal with that when you cannot see it?
And the kids today would say, how do you do it with cash? Because I have to hand my phone or whatever to my child most of the time. Now they're 22 and 18 now, but I've always had to hand them my technology.
Yeah. The thing is,
We just out.
yeah, you know, the new generation kids. No, let me ask you that question: is why are so many families or people in the US pretty much bankrupt? Credit cards maxed out, and so on. I believe this is one thing, that you cannot see what you spend. Because you cannot tell me that you go grocery shopping and when you cash out that you pull up your app from your bank and then you take a look there. I don't think so. Nobody's doing that. So what my money is in my wallet, I can see it. I have $3-4 after grocery shopping, so I can stop at my bar and get a beer because I can afford it. All right? So without that, I have no clue how that works. Absolutely no clue. I mean, the forecast looks for me like that people doing this, going bankrupt more, be more in debt, and you end up on the street. Because, see, this is a circle here. Then you expect that the government is helping you. No. The government is not there to help you. The government is there to make your life easier. That is what I'm thinking from a government. But you have to do also something to support your family, support yourself. This is your job. And that brings me to the next topic. Why is this not taught in school? Is there a reason for?
The lack of respect, I believe, well, let's just say this. Respect and holding people to a standard and setting boundaries, I believe, has been very lax in this country.
Yeah, not only here. This is a worldwide thing.
Well, sure, because there's and this is no offense to anyone, but like I'll use my brother for example, because I know that he would not be offended by this. I was born in 1974. He was born in 1983, almost to the day. My parents, my dad especially, was a lot more tough on me than he was on my brother.
Oh yeah. We're in the same boat here.
Right. Now, if you ask my dad today, in his mind, he thinks that he can't apologize enough. And if he watches this, I like for him to know that there's no more needs for apologies because of the discipline that I had makes me the man that I am today, and thank God. But going back to it is when you give people a little bit more freedom, they see a little bit further and want a little bit more. And that's great. That's fabulous. Because you want people reaching out for things.
Yeah.
But if you open the fence or you open the property or whatever and just let it go, there's no reason for people to try.
Yep. Yeah.
Because they think it's owed.
Yeah.
And they forget that you have to earn it.
Yeah.
Because everybody before you that makes that red, white, and blue, all 50 stars,
Yep.
They earned it in some form or fashion.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, I mean, you brought it up. So I was in the same boat with you. So I'm the oldest one. My brother is 13 years younger than I. All right. So when I grow up, my daddy is a master plumber, and my dad support the family since I think since day one. He lost jobs, but he always did something to support the family. Family first. That is number one. It's a rule that is hammered in freaking marmor. In stone. It's like our Constitution. Don't touch it. Respect it. So my dad teached me how you fix stuff, right? So when I was 15 years old, I remember that 15 is the year in Germany where you can have a moped, right? So you don't longer has to, use your bicycle. You can use a moped, and freedom, right? Yeah. And I was looking forward. Oh God, finally. So a day before my birthday came up, my dad called me in his basement and say, "Happy birthday." And I said, "Okay." And I was looking where that moped is. There was a freaking big box with some trash in there. Looks like trash. No, he got that moped from a friend, and it was in parts. And my dad says, "Build your moped." And I was pissed. I was mad. At this time. And he said, "I help you. But you have to build it." And I didn't understand what is the purpose behind. Now, 50 years later, I know what the purpose is. What I like to say is my brother came up 13 years later, right? And he never showed my brother anything. When my brother needs something, my mom and dad give him out, But and I asked my dad when my brother was 18 years old, and I asked him, say, "Dad, I appreciate what you did for me and how you raised me, but why is it so different between me and Kai?" And my dad says, "I don't have the strength to do it again." That was harsh. That was, but I understand. My dad get older, I get older, but what I learned in all these years before I came over here, that was so much helpful for me here. I can fix stuff. I don't have to hire anybody. And you know me, I build motorcycles better than Harley. I fix stuff even it has nothing to do with my trade. So for the record, I learned a trade. In Germany, it is you not get pushed to go to the university. All right. After 12 years or a 10-year school, you can learn a trade, or you go to college, whatever you want. My mom and dad never had the money to do that for me. Okay. Schools or our system is free. So when my kids grow up, then went to the university, I paid $350 for it. For 2 kids.
Wow.
That's it. For 4 years. Here, I guess Bren was 58 when she paid her last student loan. So the $1 million question is, and that brings me back here. Bren has 2 kids, Jack and Riley. Jack learned a trade. Riley went 2 years to the university. Jack is a welder, and he moved away from Georgia. He lives in Iowa now as a welder, and he's a damn good welder. The point what I like to make is not everybody should be in the university.
That's right.
All right? Because if you take classes like singing and clapping and you get a diploma after 4 years, what is this helping in life here? Instead, why you not take a trade and then along the road you go to the university? But you have one thing where you can build on, where you can make money on, you can raise a family, and you can support a family. University is, for me, far down the road, you know. But that is me. So, but these are all these things what I learned from my grandpa, my grandma, my dad, my mom. And I learned the basic stuff. You have to learn how you cook. Create a meal. We're not talking about push a button on a microwave, right? That is not healthy, and it is not really, it costs money, right? Is it better than a home-cooked meal? Fuck no. That's why I get this smile in my face when I see these commercials, where you can order this pre-prep stuff, and then you see that girl says, yeah, after a busy day, learn to fucking cook.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on, right? Or
At minimum, learn how to use a grill.
yeah,
It's easy.
It's easy, right? You don't have to make an open fire and cook a half hog on it. I can do it, but different generation. So the next thing is actually the school system. When I went in school, we have our regular classes, right? Math, history, physics, chemical, whatever, name it.
Sure.
And then you have classes you can pick, right? So you can do stuff in the woodworking shop and learn something. This is gone. I remember there was classes here in the US, you can work on cars in school.
Yes.
Why is it gone? And that brings me to the point why all these new numbnuts targeting for electric car. There's no motor in it. You don't have to make an oil change. The only thing what you have to do is wait until the thing starts burning. That's it. And then try to sell it. All right. I like to sell my Tesla. Dude, good luck. So if you have a nice V8 Mustang sitting there.
Do you think that could be part of the evolution to get us used to going into the robotics? Because we're going to phase out mechanics. Because if robotics have been assisting in building for a long time, but we're getting faster. But because you mentioned AI earlier,
Yeah, AI suck.
but there's no getting around that it's going to be part of our lives. In fact, I would venture to say that it may be our version of the Industrial Revolution.
No. The way I
The
see
only
it,
reason I say that is because there's an AI president, Chan, who was on Sean Ryan's show, and he was talking about that. And the more he talked about that, because he said not a cash crop, not like tobacco, But go ahead.
I mean, AI should be maybe, or will be maybe, a good solution in different things in the world, but keep it away from the army or our military at all. Because, do you remember the Terminator? I really don't like to end up like that. Okay? But also, you brought up, robotics and all that. I guess the evolution is that people get more and more lazy. Is it easier to go online, order your pizza, and Uber deliver it to you? Or you go in your kitchen, make your own pizza dough with your kids, and put on it what it is, and then put it in the oven, and whoa, surprise! All right? It is easier to order it online. That is the thing that comes up. I grew up without internet. You grew up without internet. Is that a good thing? Yeah,
Absolutely.
it is. And I promise you, if the shit hit the fan one day, people like you and me, we go out, we will survive.
Absolutely.
But these young kids with the blue hair and the nose ring, that brings me back to our topic earlier. Make your popcorn, open up a cold, and watch the show.
That's right. That's right. That's
And
right.
I hope I get this show watching from upstairs there. And trust me, I have pee in my eye for laughing. I'm laughing my butt off. So there's also one thing. Remember, I said that I respect the born American more than like people like me that immigrate here and not grow up here because of the roots and the traditions what you grow up in the US here with. I like to tell you a story about me over here sitting in the Waffle House. So Brandon and I, we walked in a Waffle House because I love Waffle House, man. Nothing is better. Doesn't matter what time of the day it is, even at 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't care. So we went for breakfast to Waffle House, and I was sitting here, Brent sits on the left side, and there was an older guy sitting right beside Brent on the countertop there. So we was, ordering our coffee and doing our stuff, and the guy, I guess he was listening, and he figured out that I have an accent, right? So he asked actually, Brent, hey, where's your boyfriend from, or husband? And Brent says he's from Germany. So he's born in Germany. And he said, man, did he met him? And Brent, she looked over to me, and she asked me, hey, that dude has a question. I have no answer. I said, okay, so I lean over and say, hey, hello, sir, can I help you? You have a question? Yeah, I heard that you're from Germany. I say, yeah, I'm born and raised in Cologne, Germany. Did you met the man? I say, okay, excuse me. What man? I met a lot of mans in my life. Not the man. I say, okay. A little bit more specific. Did you met Adolf Hitler? First of all, I have a lot of respect for older people, right? So I try to give him an answer without pissing him off, all right?
Or being disrespectful.
Thank you.
Right.
And without laughing. So my brain was working, laughing everywhere in every corner, and I leaned over to the man and said, hey, sir, with all respect, I was not even born. That was way before my time. Not my war, not my time, and I never met him. So that was funny like fuck, sorry, but that is one thing that happens a lot of me since I'm here. All right, as soon somebody figured out that I'm from Germany, you can bet on it. Along the road or the question pops up. You met him? No. You know, the war is over for 80 years. I guess that dude is, what, 140? And I don't think he's still alive. So, and I don't care where he lives or where he died. Don't bring him back. All right? I mean, it was not all bad what he did, right? So you have to understand that. Especially at that time. He brought us work, because after the World War I, Germany was poor because the Allies put the big thumb on Germany, and there was not enough food, there was not enough work, everything was destroyed. So, and then that man from Austria came up, and he couldn't stand to it, and he said, I have to do something here. So the story starts, he did something. He gave Germany hope. He gave the workers work. We built the Autobahn. He gave the people in Germany food, clothes, a future. Okay, what he did with the Jews sucks completely, and he never learned from anything else that we're not starting a war on 3 fronts. We're not doing this anyway.
And you're speaking about from the American perspective there.
Yeah.
3 front.
Yeah. So that is, because of my accent, you will figure it out that I'm not born here. So that is a good thing. I'm not losing my accent. That makes me me.
Absolutely.
Right? But I learn from your culture here a lot. And that is what I'm saying. If you're not willing to learn and listen and accept people with a different point of view, then die. Because life without learning, what kind of life is that? You learn not from mistakes what people making. You're not learning from your mistakes what you're making. So that brings me back to the education, right? I would say yes, Europeans or Germans are more educated than Americans. And that has something to do with our country is only 250 years old. Germany, my hometown, is born, the first settlement was there 638 before. When you dig in my dad's backyard, you find Roman stuff. And you find a couple bombs of the World War II, but that is not so important. Thanks for that gift. Anyway, so the most important part in every culture is learn your history, but learn it for you. So what I'm saying is you can read this much in your history books. You can research so much on internet. Combine this and make your own point of view how you see the history. Because history is always written from more than one people. It's always two sides of the medal here. So that brings us back to why the Civil War, right? For an example. Or let's break it back to even better. Our flag, right? Old Glory. And then you have the flag from the South in the Civil War. Do you know actually that the Civil War, the original flag from the South looks like identical to the Old Glory?
It did.
And you see, we are a generation that learns from history and we read history. Mm-hmm. So these guys have to change the battle flag to the battle flag that we know, the Confederate flag.
That's right.
It has nothing to do with slaves. That is only you can see it on the battlefield. Oh, this is the South, this is the North. So when it comes down to us, what I learned in school from the American Civil War, from slavery, first of all, I never point the finger. We flying the Confederate flag in Germany too. And I was a biker in Germany. I had a flag on there, my Confederate flag. The meaning is different. The meaning for us in Europe, England, Germany, it's a rebel flag. You are a rebel. I was a rebel. I was a rebel against the society. I was on the road demonstrate peaceful against nuclear wars, rockets and all that. I was in the army with you guys. We split the base, and that was the best time in my life after school, because I learned so much from a different country. That's incredible. So if you put all these together, right? And then you see 1996, when I was here the first time, and then 2005, when I finally moved over here. I started here with a totally point of view. I know this country. I know that where it comes from. And that is helpful. That is so much more helpful. If you start, and I speak English. Perfect? No. When I start learning English in school, I hate that shit. In Germany you can choose. When you're 5th grade, Latin, French, English. Okay. Who the heck speaks Latin? When I was in 5th grade, I wasn't interested in being a doctor. I was interested in the girl next door. French? Buddy, everybody hates the fucking French. There's no reason. You cannot even curse in French. That sounds like a love affair. Dude, what the heck is that kind of language?
Ooh la la.
Yeah, you know, whatever. Anyway.
That's all I know.
Yeah, so then English it is. So 5 years English in Germany is you learn Oxford English. Oxford is in England. Not even the people in Oxford speak that language. Interesting. It was not even helpful when I came over here. Anyway, I hate it. I had an F in English until I left school. So, long story short, I came over here and I called my English teacher because we still have the numbers, and so I called her and I said, thank you, Mrs. Koch, for teaching me English. And she said, what? You have an F in English? I say, yeah. And what is your best guess where I'm living now? She said, I don't know. I said, I'm living in Kennesaw, Georgia. And that is in America. And these guys don't speak German here. And these guys don't speak Oxford either. So I bought my first Harley in Germany in 1986. Man, I was the king. Because there was not many Harley Davidson dealers. So you have to fix your baby. How you fix your baby? You read the manual. That's what my dad taught me. Doesn't matter what kind of manual it is, read it before you do it. Okay. Problem is, the English owner manual from Harley Davidson comes in freaking English. Oh shit, here we go, right? So, what is the best way you learn English? We have an American channel, because we have still Americans over in Germany. Sesame Street, baby. Sesame Street. That is the best thing you can start learning English. As a base. And later on, it's easy. So, that brings me back to the thing, coming over here with all these things that my dad and my grandpa teach me. From fixing stuff, growing stuff, my grandma and mom, cooking, baking, whatever it is. Oh, sewing a button on a freaking pants. I bought my first Wrangler. I remember that. That was I'm born 62, 1975, 76. Right. The original Wrangler, not the Walmart Wrangler, okay? So the original Wrangler with the leather patch on the back, right? I paid 110 German marks for it. That brings you roughly, at this time, I would say roughly 150, 160 bucks for a pair of jeans. So, my mom and dad said, no, I'm not buying that thing. You have to save your money and then you can buy it. I did. When you buy something, what you really like, you love it, you maintain it. So I wear the jeans for years. And of course, the jeans starts breaking down. The new generation likes these freaking holes in the jeans. My generation like to put a patch on it. My mom says, I'm not sewing anything in that piece of junk. Throw it away. So no, I'm not throwing away a Wrangler for almost 200 bucks. Say, show me how that works so I can put a patch on it. So in the beginning, my mom gave me that patch and I get a needle and start sewing it on. Then I find out my mom has a sewing machine. So show me how you thread the needles and the yarn in it and everything. So when I start putting patches on there was roughly 20, 25 patches on my jeans. Leather patch in the front, so you can go on your knees and have fun, whatever. And between my legs there was holes and patched it. And anyway, and then the darkest moment starts. The zipper broke. Nisios, what we doing here? I went to the store, measured the zipper, got the zipper. How in the fucking hell you put that puppy in? By hand? Hell no. So anyway, I wrote down, draw a couple pictures how that zipper was attached to the jeans. And then I took the zipper out, put the new one in. Sewing machine. I guess I broke roughly 10 needles, but anyway, the sewing machine survived, my jeans was fixed, and I was proud like hell. So, see, that brings me to the next topic, proud. You know what I have moments. I wake up in the morning, get my cup of coffee, let the dogs out, standing in front of my porch and looking over that valley. And I think, I'm proud to be an American. The new society. I never heard anybody say that. This is what it means for me. That means that flag. That means that land, that country here. The people that lives in here. I'm proud to be an American, be a part of this. And that says somebody that comes from a totally different country, with a totally different history. Is this not what makes an American an American? To be proud of that?
Absolutely.
So why is that not taught in school? What is the big deal here? We're not talking about the blue states where you learn that there's more than 2 genders. And yes. I don't care, you wake up in the morning and you see yourself like a hamster. This has nothing to do with that.
The theory is that they started at the top and at the biggest and hope the rest of the dominoes would just crumble. They started out by taking prayer and God out of school. Then a few years later, when that settled a little bit, then they took patriotism for the love of everything. I mean, just hardcore patriotism, they took it out. In fact, I believe they still have to stand for the flag, but I'm not so sure do they have to say the Pledge of Allegiance. It's their right not to, but come on. But they went from God, took God out of school, took patriotism out of school, and the last 4 years, what have we seen? They're trying to take the nuclear family away. God, country, God,
yeah.
Country, family.
Yeah.
You take those 3, instead of us cutting the head off the snake, they're trying to cut the head. They are trying to cut the head off of whatever we are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you see, that brings us to the next thing. How is the future looks like? You have ballless, brainless people that runs around and order pizza online and let it deliver from Uber. See, this is what it brings us back. And this is what I'm hoping. I mean, it sounds harsh, but I hope that there will be a time in the future, there will be not enough food, you have to fight for every fucking thing, and then you will see what is left over. Because Mother Nature is a bitch, and only the strongest survive. And after, when this is over, and the human beings starting over, all these values comes back. All these, like respect, family, country. Somebody asked me when we was in a motorcycle club. Somebody asked me, what do you think about... No, would you think fighting for this country? I'm not even flinched. And I say no. What I like to do, to prove, give me a 50 cal, I go for night shift on the border, and I take care about business. And give me enough ammunition. The fight starts there. And here. In every family here. If you don't have any values where you can grab on and hold on, I mean, maybe this is me, but what kind of future you have? You know, future is more than an Xbox.
Absolutely.
You know, future is more than a freaking cell phone.
Yeah.
So.
And roots that are not buried deep are easily removed.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Mother Nature is a bitch sometimes.
Absolutely.
You know, but that's why everybody loves Mother Nature. Did you ever heard somebody say, I hate Mother Nature? No, everybody loves Mother Nature.
Yeah.
And that's why it is so cool. She is harsh, hard, mean sometimes. But on the other hand, she is also beautiful. And that brings you to your inner core, your inner values. And that makes, in my case, in the right way, an American. You can hold on that. You can cuddle with the flag if you want. Don't touch the ground, but cuddle with the flag if you want. You know, stand up, go to a soldier, go to a police officer, to anybody else, shake his hand and say thank you for your service. It's so easy, but do it. That makes me feel great. I was at Walmart a couple of weeks ago, and a guy from World War II, a veteran, in his chair with this old lady. I walked to the man and I say, I thank you. Without you, I will be not here. And the lady, what do you mean? I say, I'm from Germany. And D-Day came around, and you guys liberate Germany and Europe from all this crap. That was the best thing in my life, what I heard in school, when I heard the stories. When I heard the stories from my mom, from my dad. My mom and dad are born in the last year of the World War II. And she had tears in her eyes. And I said, thank you. Thank you for your service. That feeling is awesome. And I don't see that in the new generations or in the future.
No. And it's so important. And I know people say, well, I don't like to talk to strangers. I don't like to talk to people. Well, trust me, it gets easier every time you do it. But
Yeah.
you will be amazed how just saying thank you
Yeah,
goes so far with whoever you want to say thank you to.
right.
Whether it's the nurse,
Yeah,
the police officer, the veteran, and God bless our veterans, but and their families. But it's just amazing that ask a veteran, how do you feel? Because everybody knows about. I'm sure everybody knows a veteran, at least one. Ask them.
yeah,
How does it make you feel when somebody just says thank you?
yeah. So that brings me to a thing that is burned in my brain. So I was here with Sabine on vacation, September. When the airplanes hits New York, September 11. I was on vacation in New Orleans. I switched TV on in the morning, I grabbed some coffee, and I saw that thing flies in one of the towers. Sabine was under the shower. I was there. I talked to her. I said, hey, look, you have to take a look at this. That is the freaking insurance commercial what I ever saw for, house insurance.
Right.
And then I saw the second plan. And I said, Sabine, we have a problem here. So we packed, we checked out of the hotel, we got in our rental car, and we drove from New Orleans to Mobile, Alabama. Along the way, I have to stop for gas, grab some food. Every gas station we walked in, the TV was running. People asked me questions. What happened? What happened? What is that? And I said, not good. Fast forward, we made it out of America, we flew back to Germany, and I promised myself I will see Ground Zero before the guy's building something else on it. So I got the opportunity a year later. And I talked to a firefighter down there. I say, hey, I was here and I saw what happens last year. And man, I don't have the right words to say thank you what you did. The conversation was so emotional. He had a pin. He got it from, I don't know, from his boss or whatever. It's this memorial pin where you see that firefighters putting up that flag in on Ground Zero. And he gave me a piece of rock, concrete rock.
Wow.
And he says, do me a favor, keep it. And always remember. So I flew back and I walked right into HR. And I made it really clear. You don't ever send me to the Middle East. Ever. If you send me to the Middle East, that will be not nice, because I'm going with the right people, enough ammunition, and I clean out that mess.
Yeah.
And HR was not really happy about it, but he says you have two options here. You write it in my contract, or I'm leaving. So she wrote it in the contract, and that is also one thing that is so burned in my head. This is when you see what you're leaving in this country uninfected, not screened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I'm hearing these people yelling about what Trump is doing, these guys not even listening. He is not kicking anybody out of this country that came in here legally and do it the right way.
Nobody.
No, he is kicking out the scum. And man, He has all my support because I see what happens in Germany right now, in my hometown. Every day. My brother says, you cannot believe that. People from the Middle East, Syria, Afghanistan, stabbing German people, raping German girls. And the government is doing fucking nothing. Leaving the doors wide open. The guy that rapes that girl, he's coming out of jail in 24 hours and he's doing it again. He's not even deported. In what kind of sick world these people living? And that is when you see a country is run by Democrats. This is the same shit what we have in our blue states here. These guys don't listen. These guys have a picture in their head that is not belongs on this earth. It is not real. It is not real. But there's one thing what I learned when I'm listening to history and see the world. The country where you live in comes first. You don't have to, as me, as an immigrant from Germany, American citizen now, I don't have to agree with you every time on everything.
That's right.
I can say my point of view, like it or not. That brings me to my German heritage. And you know me, I say it always straightforward.
That's right.
There's no sugarcoating. And you know it and you saw it. People can handle it, and there's also people don't handle it right. I cannot help these people that cannot handle it. I can't. So I'm turning around and leaving alone. These mother effers coming back and poking more and more and more to the point I'm turning around and I smack you in your face. Because that is the only language these people actually understand.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. Do you think, at least this is how I see it, that the left has always considered themselves to be a little bit smarter than the average bear, a little bit more higher intellectual, blah, blah, blah. However, they have taken away debate in this because you can't debate when you're screaming. And you said earlier, dude, I want to hear what you got to say.
Yeah.
But I want to do it in a relaxed forum to where we can dialogue back and forth.
Right.
This does not have to be a monologue. And
No.
we're tired of hearing
Yeah.
the monologue.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.